In Ohio, nearly 700 worried citizens gathered at the East Palestine High School gym. The citizens spoke to local, state, and federal officials. They expressed their legitimate concerns about the release of toxic chemicals into the air and water following the Norfolk Southern train derailment nearly 2 weeks ago. But guess who was a no-show last night? The owners and operators of the derailed train. No one from Norfolk Southern Railway showed up. Just hours before the town hall, in a statement to local news reporters, the company said they were not going to the event after becoming, quote, increasingly concerned about the growing physical threat to our employees and members of the community. Because of Norfolk Southern's absence, the East Palestine Mayor Trent Conaway switched the town hall's format from a question and answer session to an open house format. Residents were asked to wait in lines to speak with environmental agents in job fair-like booths. The townspeople, well, they didn't seem very happy.
This is not what we came for, and I stand behind the mayor of my community.
Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw has released a statement. In his statement, he said, in part, quote, "We will not walk away, East Palestine. I hear you. We hear you. My simple answer is that we are here and will stay here for as long as it takes," end quote. While Norfolk Southern representatives are avoiding East Palestine, the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Michael Regan, did show up in town. He was there today with Ohio U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown. Administrator Regan wanted to see for himself and hear directly from the residents. He also met with state and local officials and emergency responders. Regan and Senator Brown then held a press conference. Here's part of what Regan had to say when asked if he would allow his children to drink the water in East Palestine.
If those homes have been tested, and if those homes have been tested by the state and given a clean bill of health, yes, as a father, I trust the science, I trust the methodology that this state is using, and as a parent, I would.
As of yesterday evening, the EPA has screened the water quality of 486 homes. 14 more homes are scheduled for screening today. The EPA says samples from East Palestine's municipal well showed no signs of water quality concerns. Ohio Republican Congressman Brad Wenstrup joins me as a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Well, this is, obviously a terrible thing for this community. So tell me what your thoughts about this. How does this happen? What are we going to do?
Well, I mean, let me just first off say, what a terrible tragedy this is, and obviously a huge health concern. One positive on the immediate front is that no lives were lost, but there's certainly the long-term and short-term concern for people's health, as we're already hearing people talk about symptoms they may be getting, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on that. But obviously we have to investigate every detail of this and then remediate everything that we possibly can when it comes to the health of the citizens and everyone involved with this, including the health of the wildlife and what's going on in the environment. You had the discussion there about the water and water safety. I hope that this can be a trusted source and people are able to drink water directly because it's clean and not a problem. Initially, I know the governor said if you have the option for bottled water, I would go with that until we know more. Sounds like we know a little bit more. The National Transportation Safety Board has a lot to do here, and they investigate accidents. And really, it's like 99.9% of hazardous materials by rail reach their destination without a problem, but obviously the goal needs to be 100%. Norfolk Southern went ahead with a controlled release. I think they felt that was the least bad option, and that if we did it this way or they did it this way, then there was less damage that could come from a huge explosion that might take place.
You know what I appreciate? You know what I appreciate is that I did a water special some time ago with Michael Regan, who's head of the EPA, and I must admit, seeing him on the ground there, looking at this, trying to talk to the people. I mean, it's really what we sort of, what our leaders should be doing. And I got to give him credit because he's out there talking to people, seeing it with your own eyes. It's so different than, for instance, someone sitting someplace else and trying to figure it out. I mean, this is a terrible crisis for this community. They have no idea what the long-term effect is. First, they're terrified, then they're evacuated, and now they have no idea what to expect. There have been sick animals, there have been dead fish. So I do tip my hat, though, to the administrator because he's there today.
You know, it's interesting you say that. You know, I served in Iraq, and, you know, it was interesting. One of the things that made a big difference when we were there is what General Petraeus did, is when we moved our troops into the neighborhoods with the people. You know, if you're there with them, then the trust grows. And so that, I think, is a huge signal. And, you know, personally, to have someone like that there to console people and also to say, we're checking it and answer the question, yes, I would let my children drink this water. I would drink this water because I have faith in this system. That does make a big difference.
Well, except let me just stop there. I mean, yeah. I believe him, and I believe he stayed there. I don't have a lot of confidence if someone says basically drink the water in these instances. Maybe they're right, but I got to tell you, it's like I don't care how many times people would say that if it's like, I'm sure, maybe he's 100% right, but I think it's way too soon to be, to be guessing on that one.
No, but this should be a daily occurrence, if not hourly in some cases, depending upon the flow of the chemicals that were released and their effect into the environment. I agree with you. You don't just do it once and say it's okay. This is a constant monitoring that has to take place. And but having someone there, boots on the ground, does make a difference. But here's some other concerns here, Greta, with this whole situation. Look, many of the chemicals that were released from this cause lung irritation, they cause nausea, they cause dizziness. We're having reports of people getting migraines. Vinyl chloride, for example, which has been said to be a part of the mix, if you will, that can cause lung cancer. Benzene, which has been part of this can cause cancers and also genetic mutations. So it is important that this is monitored constantly, and make sure that people are in a safe place, that the air is constantly monitored, that the water is constantly monitored. Within the river and the intakes, I heard that they do have a separate intake of water supply. Maybe they need to go to that, but they've got to be constantly checking and maybe evacuate if necessary.
I'm going to take the last word on, but if I were there, I'd be Congressman Brad Wenstrup. If he were there, I'd say, you go first, on drinking the water. But, I know it's like, maybe it's just me. I've covered Flint, Michigan, and everything else. Congressman Brad Wenstrup, I am taking the last word on it. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks.